Hello folks, here we are on another lovely day in Paradise here at Marsh Creek Lake. We're going to talk a little bit about stand-up paddleboarding and about some of the new products from Bic that we have in our shop. So right here I have two of the new jungles from what's called the E-Comp range. The E-Comp stands for the construction boards, which is a synthetic type epoxy which makes the boards very strong, very durable, yet also very light. So here we have two of our boards from the Bic Jungle E-Comp range. The one on the right is an 11 foot 6 inches, and the one on your left is a 10.6. The one on the right is going to have 220 liters of volume. That's going to be very stable for flat water paddling. The length is also going to help with flat water paddling. Just getting a long, smooth glide out through the water. It's going to have a single fin from FCS, which is one of the leading fin manufacturers for surfboards. The one on the left is going to be ideal for flat water, but it's really going to see its better days in the surf. As you can see towards the back of the board, we have a 2+1 fin setup. These two fins on the side are called side bites, and it's going to give the fin just a little bit more bite as you're turning the board in a surf scenario. It's also going to have less volume. With that length at 10.6 and a volume of 185 liters, it's definitely going to be more playful in the waves. Alright, so here we come towards the back of the bottom of the board. We're looking at our 10.6 Jungle right now at 185 liters, where we have that 2+1 fin setup. Again, from the brand of FCS, one of the leading fin manufacturers for surfboards, we have our large center fin here, which is a US or trim box. And then we have these two side bite FCS fins, which are just like your classic FCS setup on any shorter surfboard. They're going to fit into the sides of the boards, something like this. So we talked about setting up the fins on the 10.6 in brief, but now we're going to show you through the 11.6, the larger board. We're going to mount this center fin, and we're going to take it out on the water. So let's take a closer look into how we mount the fin, and we'll get out on the water sooner than you know it. So here we have our FCS fin. We have our fin box towards the back of the board. It's going to have 2 points on this fin where it attaches to the board. You have this notch towards the back of the fin, and you have a screw towards the front with a small FCS Allen key wrench which comes with the board. Whoops. I'm going to take this nut off of that front screw of the fin and slide it into the fin track. Anyone who has a history in windsurfing will recognize this type of box. I'm going to go ahead and take these, oops, here goes the screw. I'm going to take these top notches here, these back notches rather. Also slide them into the back of the board. Oops. Line them up with the nut. Start to screw that in. Now as you can see here, the box is much larger than the fin base. So where along the box should you line up the fin? Well, it depends on what kind of paddling you're going to be doing. If you're going to be surfing in the waves, you want to make sharp pivotal turns, you're going to slide that fin up towards the front of the box. If you're going to be doing long distance paddling or just cruising here on the lake, you want to slide that fin towards the back of the board. That's going to help the board go in a straight line. So we're going to line it just close towards the back of the board since we'll be doing flat water paddling today on this beautiful day down here at Marsh Creek State Park. We finished tightening the nut there. Just snug enough that the fin can't rock forward or backwards. We flip it back over and rest it on that fin. Believe it or not, that fin is very sturdy and the board can be stored in this position without any problems. So I'm going to go ahead, grab my paddle, and let's hit the water. Alright, so we're getting ready to hit the water here. I'm going to use an aluminum paddle from a brand called Bic E-Comp, which is the brand that we feature in our rental. It's a very strong yet very light paddle made out of that aluminum construction. And as we line up our height on this adjusted paddle, for flat water you want the paddle just about 8 inches above your height. If you're going to be surfing, more of an aggressive position, lower in the water, very strong short paddles, you're going to shorten the length a little bit more. Let's say 5 to 6 inches above your height. Also, if you're doing flat water and you really want that workout vibe in your stand-up paddling, a shorter paddle is going to allow you to use more of your core and more of your lower body in each paddle. The longer paddle is going to be for a more relaxed stance. So as we come over to the board here, you can see the top of the deck has this padded foam, which is going to be very nice grip as we're out there on the water, even in the surf. It's a great feature because you don't have to put wax on the board. Any of you guys who have experience in surfing, putting wax on your board every session can be kind of a pain in the butt, to be honest with you. You get that wax all over your feet, all over your clothes. These boards with the traction pad just works out perfectly. It's included with the board, already comes pre-matted. It's really the only way to be. As you come towards the center of the board, you can see it does have a slot towards the middle of the board, and that's actually a handle. It's going to be very easy to carry the board. No more carrying the board over your head, no more carrying the board on your shoulder. Just tilt the board over on its side. Put your fingers in the cup. One hand with the paddle, one hand with the board, and we're ready to go. So let's go hit the water. So here we are into the waters of Marsh Creek Lake. Have the board all ready to go. I'm pretty stoked to get riding. So there's a few different ways you can get onto the board. For novice paddlers or people who are just looking to stay stable out there on the water in choppy conditions, you just do a very simple knees on the board, just like that. And in many cases, it might actually be easier to paddle out on your knees. Just holding the paddle about half length, just like that. Or if you want to look cooler on the beach, or if you have pretty flat water conditions, you can step straight onto the board. This board, as I mentioned earlier, this 11.6 is very stable, has a lot of volume at 220 liters, so it's very stable if you were to just step one foot after the other onto the board. Very stable platform. You want to stand with about 1 foot on either side of this notch here, this middle section of the board. It's going to give you your best balance. Both toes are pointing straight forward, as in a skiing position. As I grab my paddle, I'm going to grab the top of the paddle, just like a canoe paddle. I'm going to push the water with this flat surface. Pull the water towards me, push it back towards the back of the board, and that's what's driving me forward. I paddle backwards. Of course, the board will spin around just like any canoe or kayak. And that's the basics of stand-up paddling. As I mentioned, here in our shop we have the Bic Jungles and E-Comp range. We also have Bic plastic boards from an ACS Construction, which are very durable, which we also feature in our rental. We also have boards from a Munson, also known as Aquaglide. And if you're interested in boards from brands like Exoset, Nash, we can also get those in days' notice. So come check us out at Marsh Creek Water Sports. Try the gear before you buy. It's really important. Almost anywhere online now you guys can buy paddle boards, but it's so important to try before you buy. Support your local shop. Maybe you save $5 online, but down at your local shop you're going to get the personal service, you're going to get to try the boards out, and you just get to become part of the vibe.